Hello, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So let's continue with our forum here. So in the previous video, we designed this template here. And so in here, we want to actually use it to create a functioning website. So what I'm going to do is separate this template into different pages so that we can only see what we need to see. So in order to grab this template, there's a link in the description. You can grab it from there. And once you're done, you're going to get a zip file. So what I've done here is I've downloaded the zip file, and here it is. So I've extracted it to this folder. And in this folder, you can open the index.html file. And this is the one you are seeing right here. Okay, now in order for PHP to work, we need to have a server going on and we need to install PHP itself. So if you haven't done that already, please download XAMPP. Download this program, XAMPP, and install it. If you're using a Mac, use MAMP instead. So MAMPP. That's the software to download. So download that and install it, and then open the control panel like this, and then click Start on Apache and MySQL. So MySQL is our database controller, and Apache is the server. So once those two are running, we are good to go. The server comes with PHP installed. Now, in order for things to work, we must put our website in a very specific folder. In my case, if you're using XAMPP, you're going to go to C XAMPP htdocs. So htdocs is where all your server files should be in. Now in here in htdocs folder, I've created a folder called templates. This is where I will be putting all my tutorials. Then in here, I put another folder called forum for this particular thing. And then here we are. Now you don't need to create this templates folder. You can just put inside htdocs, you can just put forum directly there, and that should do. So you extract the file, and here it is. So here's our index.html, and that does it for our template. Now what we want to do instead is change things a little bit so that we separate the files into separate files. Also, the index.html, we want to change that to index.php. So I'm just going to right click and rename this file. Actually, better we do it in the text editor because sometimes you may not see the file extension. So what we're going to do is load our text editor. Now you can use any text editor of your choice. You can use VS Code, that's fine. I'm using Sublime Text because it's simple. That's why I like it. I like very basic stuff. So in here, I just want to drag and drop my folder. So I want to drag and drop the forum folder onto Sublime Text like this. That way I get a nice view here, and I can click in the extracted folder. I don't really need the zip folder here. So what I'm going to do is right click on, actually what I'll do is, let me get back here for a second. Let me move everything from in here. I don't need the readme file. So we're just going to cut these two and put them directly inside the forum folder like this. And then we can delete the zip and the actual folder that we had created like that. So that way we have forum and then assets and then index.html. So this is what we'll have when we look at our thing here. Now I want to rename the HTML file to PHP because we want to add some PHP in there. So PHP, enter. So that doesn't change anything really, only that this time it will know that there could be some PHP inside this file. Okay, so then let's rename the title. PHP forum is fine. Let's remove the 2 there. All right, and what else? Now I want to separate things first of all. So let me start by loading that file there. So this one is the direct template, the HTML version, but I want to load the one that I've just created, the PHP version. So what I'll do is go back to forum, and I'll drag and drop this into a new tab. So I want to create a new tab here. I will now grab the index.php file and drop it inside a new tab like so. So it looks pretty much the same as the HTML version. But what I want to do is I want now to run this through the server. So I'm going to replace everything up to the htdocs folder here. So htdocs and before, all this will be changed to the word localhost like that. So now it's localhost/template/forum/index.php. Okay, good. Now it looks like nothing has changed, but a lot has changed. We're now using our server to load things. Now sometimes you may be using a different port, not the default port here. So you may need to do something like localhost : maybe 8080, the port number, and then press enter like this. Now, if you're not using 8080 as the port, then things are going to fail. But in case you're using port numbers and all that, you can do it like this. But in our case, we are not, so I'll remove that. Okay, so this is great. Now, the first thing I want to do is make the sign up page disappear. So let me find it first of all. So let's go here. Actually, without making it disappear first, let me right click on form and I want to create a new file. So new file here, and I want to actually move the sign up part. So sign up is here and there's a div over here. As you can see, the div starts here and ends over there. So this is cool. I'm going to cut everything here so that the sign up page is gone. Cut it like this. And excuse me, I'm going to paste it in the untitled file. So select everything, shift tab so that I can move them closer here. And I'll save this inside, make sure you're saving as all files. So instead of index.php, I'll say, let's do signup.php like that. Okay. Now this one is an include file. So what I'm going to do is just say signup-i, or let's just do .inc.php like that, so that we know this file is not a complete page, it's just a file we're going to be including. Then in the index.php, let's save that. Now if I oh, this is the wrong place actually. Here if I refresh, you see the sign up page disappearing like that. Okay, which is cool. But now if I go back to the index page right here where it was, I can now put some PHP tags like that and then tell it to include, okay, another file. So I'm opening PHP tags and closing them and using the include function here to include a file. Now this file lives right in here, so I'm just going to type the name like that and save. Now this syntax is not being highlighted because our Sublime Text thinks this is HTML, which it was. So down here at the bottom right, just click where it says HTML and change that to PHP. Okay, very good. Now with that, the file is being included. So if I refresh, you'll see it again like that. Okay, cool. Now what I want to do to hide it is to go here. There's a class over here that's the whole container of this this pop-up. So instead what I would do is I'll add an extra class called hide. That's what we're going to call it. And then we can go back to our index.php page and add some extra styles here. So I'm just going to say style like this. And then I'm going to put .hide to create a hide class, and let's say display none like so. So whatever item we put the hide class is going to remain hidden. So if I now refresh, it's hidden again. Okay, good. Now I want us to move this to the profile page and this to the profile settings page like so. So what I'll do is go to now here we can choose how we want to load things. Okay, so Do we want to just be using the index page, or we have multiple pages? So maybe let's just try multiple pages for simplicity. So what I'll do is go to where it says profile settings. Where is this? So this one, your settings were saved successfully, something went wrong. These are both alerts. We don't need those to be available. So where is this? Yeah, this is one alert. This is the second alert. Okay, so we can separate those as well. So I'm going to right click, new file, come back to index, and I'm going to grab this one over here. And then save that. Let me save this one as success dot info. It's up to you what you want to call this. Maybe an alert. Success.alert.inc.php. Okay, great. Now right here where I removed it, I want to include it as well. So say include. And then in here, I will put success.alert.inc.php. Okay, cool. Now to know that things have gone well, nothing should change here. And as you can see, nothing has changed. Let's move this one as well, the second one. Then I'll create a new file as well. Paste. So I think you're beginning to see a pattern here. So instead of success, this one can be failure, or we just call it fail.alert.inc. That's fine. So let's see that. I'm going to duplicate this and change that to fail, like so. So if I come back again, you notice that the alerts are still there, but now we can hide them. So right on the class there, let's just say hide, and let's go to the other class and also say hide, like that. Then close them. Okay, so if I come back now, they are gone, but they're still there. Okay, good. What else can we separate? So now here we can create a new page entirely. This is the profile page, right? So let me go back. Let's copy the index page. Let's copy everything from here. Copy. Let's right click, create a new file, paste everything, save. And make sure you're saving as all files again. And this one will be profile.php. Okay, excuse me. Now, since this is a profile page, we change here and say profile-PHP forum. Okay, everything else remains the same. We have the header. This is all good. But actually the header, we're supposed to put it in a separate file as well. So I'm just going to cut everything from the header like that, create a new file, paste, select everything, tab it like this, save, and this one will be header.inc.php. Okay, cool. So if I come back here, I can now copy this include file and paste it here, but instead I'll change that to header.inc.php, and then I'll copy this same thing into the main index page and do exactly the same. So header is right here. Let's replace that with that, like so. All right, so if we check, nothing has changed. Now I want to change my page to profile.php, like so. Okay, so we'll have profile.php. We'll also have profile settings.php, and then the rest is just index.php. And then there's also one where we'll have a single post.php. So those are files to look out for. So let's go to the profile.php, select everything again, copy, create a new file, paste everything, save. Make sure you're saving as all files again. This time it's profile dash settings. So use the hyphen there, and then save. Okay, so now we're on the profile page. Now for the profile page to work, we have to remove everything else that isn't the profile page. So we just want to leave this part up to where it says profile settings. Everything below that is irrelevant. So I'll copy that profile settings for using as a search guide. Control F, paste, so try to find it. And there it is. So profile settings is right here. So this div should go. So let me just remove that div like that. Okay. This one as well, where there's posts, we don't need that. This one, nada. So everything below that point is irrelevant. So same thing here. Let's delete. So I'm going step by step like this so that I make sure that every opening div that I delete, I also delete the corresponding ending div. So opening and closing should all be. Now you leave the signup.inc there because we need to be able to sign up at any moment. So back here, let's refresh. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is what we get once we do that. I want to leave this, the height of this, I should have put it at minimum 100%. I don't know why I didn't do that, but it's okay. What I'll do is right below here, I'm going to add a break tag, maybe 2 of them. I wanted to leave some space below here. Okay, there it is. Okay, so this is fine. You can redesign it as you wish. That's up to you. So this shows you the bio, the image, the username, and links. Okay, so let's go to profile settings now. So there's profile dash settings there. So this is the profile dash settings page. So as well, just as we did with the other one, I want to remove everything after posts. So let's try this again. Let's go to profile settings. Okay, so everything after posts here. So let's remove that. Let's grab all of this. This 2 is meaningless. Let's remove. Let's go down here. Looking for the opening and closing. Save that. Now, everything above profile settings as well should be removed. So let's remove that part. I don't know what's in this class, so let's remove this as well. Let me save. Let's get back to business. And there it is, profile settings. Now, here too, I want to put some break tags. Where did I put them here? So just copy those from the profile page, put those in the profile settings page, like so. Okay, so at least we have profile settings and we have the profile page. So the cancel button should take us back to the profile page. So right here we have cancel button, right? So what I'm going to do is wrap this guy inside an A tag. So let's put an A tag. Let me grab that. I just want to see that I haven't broken the flow of the program, so I haven't. And let me just push this over. Now all I need to do is just say go to profile page, actually profile.php. Okay. So now if I click on that, it takes me here. And down here, I want us to be able to put profile settings as well. So if I go back, I can grab this button, the cancel button. Let me just copy that. Let's go to the profile page, and right after this bottom part here, I can add a button. Let's see. This button will be profile. I will just say edit profile. And then here it will lead to profile dash settings. So let's cancel that, and there it is, edit profile. So it seems because this is floating to one side, let me change that style. Actually, what I can do is just after this, I can just add a div to clear everything. So just say style and say clear both. So just adding this div so it can push everything down so that this button doesn't hang there. So if I click on edit profile, I'm here, and if I click cancel, I'm back here. Now let's make sure the header homepage actually takes us to index.php. So we're going to go to the header.include. Right here where there's home, I'm going to instead put index.php. Okay, now you can put other links that you want in here, you can rename them, that's up to you. So now if I click home, I come back to the index page. Now on the index page, we can now happily remove this profile and profile settings so that we see just the posts. So let's go there, it's index.php. Now let's try and remove our, so starting here, let's see here. I see this div. I was confused about this div. It's the empty one, the blue one. Okay, so here I want to remove the profile page and also remove the profile settings page. So opening, closing div right there. All right. So back, let's see what's going on. Okay, there we go. Posts. Now there's this brown thing here. I don't know which one. It's this part here that has these guys. So maybe I could simply just remove them from their containers. All right, much better. Okay, so there we are, posts, and then we have that. Now we don't need to see comments here. This should be different to the, this is the home page, but we can have a single post page where we have comments. So let's create that by copying the index page. So copy that, right click, new file, paste, save, and this one will be post single one .php. Make sure to save as all files and hit save. Now, since this is for a single post, I'm just going to go down in here and there's a part which says comments. Actually, let me move this to that location. Let's just say post.php, and there it is. So posts, and then we get to previous page, next page. Everything below this should be removed. So where are we on that one? Let's see. So there's next page, previous page. This is the first instance of it, so which means we can remove everything after that. So grab these guys right up to there, delete. Oh, wait, sorry about that. I'm supposed to do this in the index page, not the post page. So let me go to the index page. Everything after next and previous page must be removed, so let's remove that. Okay, then in the post page we literally need the comments section here, but we don't need the next and previous that's above the comments part, so let's remove that. Let me show you here. This is in the post.php. So we only need one post and then comments down here. So let's remove the second post. Let's see what this is. One post here, so I can delete this entire div. Okay, good. So one post and then comments. Now we don't need to post here, create a post. So what I'm going to do is right here where it says posts, we can just say single post instead as the title. And then this part is where we post. So I'll delete this div, which was this part here. So if I refresh, single post, there's a single post with comments. So maybe comments, I'll change that to an h2 tag, just so it's smaller than the one on top. That didn't change a thing because I guess font size is a thing. So I could easily just add a style and say font size, because this font style will override anything 16 pixels. Okay, much better. Okay, so now we have comments here, and also we just need one sample comment down here to make things easier. And so I will grab the second one and delete it. All right, so single post, comments. Next page and previous page have an underscore here that we need to remove, like that. Okay, cool. Okay, seems great. Here I'll put the title as single post dash. Okay. And then on the index page, I'll put home dash. And then what else? Profile settings as well here, change. All right. So let me see what I haven't done yet. Single post, home page, several posts. Okay, so now I need to delete this second one. So that's on the index page. The second post, which is this one, we just need the first one really as a sample. Let's remove the underscores for next and previous page. Awesomeness. Okay, so now we have a functioning template, which is awesome. Here, let me put form so that we can load things. Now, one thing I want to do is, down here before this, let me put 2 break tags. All right. Okay, so this page should be unrestricted, which means anyone can see this page, but in order for them to actually post something, they must be logged in. Also, there's this content that is in there which we don't need, so let me make sure I remove that in the text area. So the text area has this, because of this tab that's here, I just need to do this. Let me do the same for post here. Where is the other text area? Remove it like that. Okay, great. All right. Now we're going to be loading things using Ajax because I want to be able to add new posts in real time here once the user is logged in. So we need a way to actually check if the user is logged in. That way we can show this or not, right? So now is where we start the PHP process here. Okay. So once the user is logged in, we give them access to posting here. So what I would do is put some PHP tags at the top here so we can add some PHP like that. And then on all of these, I want to include a file. In fact, let's require this file so that the program will break if that file isn't there. So this one will be called functions.php. Now it doesn't need to be functions. You can call it init or something else, but I just want to use the functions in there. It will contain all the functions that are required. And then what I would do is, since the functions will be here, I'll create a function that will question whether a person is logged in or not. That way we can choose whether to show them this post area or not, right? So what I would do here is this. I'm going to do PHP tags here. So I can put an if statement and say if is logged in, or we just say, instead of is, we just say logged in, like that. It's a function, so we put those brackets over there. Now we're going to put full colon and then close that so that we can use HTML down here. So PHP end, we have to do end if afterwards to end that if statement. So there we go. So if the user is logged in, then show them this part for posting. Otherwise, we shouldn't. Now what I would do, because right now I'll get an error if I try to run this, because this function does not exist. So you will see that error here. First of all, the file functions.php does not exist. So let's right click and create that file. So I just put my PHP tag over there. Make sure you don't leave any space there before you put your PHP tags. Put it right at the beginning. So functions.php and save that. Okay, cool. Now with this in mind, let me refresh. Now the error will be different. So code to undefined function logged in. So let's create that function called logged in. So function logged underscore in, like that, and load. Okay, so there's that function, and now that function exists. Now this function should return a value, otherwise here it returns null. So let's tell it to return true for now, so that it just gives the idea that we are logged in, and this will show here. Okay, cool. Now, since we have our functions.php page there, it's very possible for someone to just type /functions.php like this. Right? And then it will load this file that we don't want people to see. Also, it's the same way we can load just the header. So let's see if I say header.inc.php. And then this is what I get. We don't want these people to be able to do this. We just want them to load files that are allowed. So what we're going to do to fix this problem is so we'll say if, let's use the defined function here. Defined, what will we call this one? So I want us to create a variable that should be defined before we get into function. If it doesn't exist, then we know that this file is being loaded directly and not through another file. So here we'll say if defined. Defined is just a function that will check if a specific constant is defined. So in here I want us to create a constant called app, like so. You can call it anything you want, it doesn't really matter. So defined, then we'll put a question mark like this. So this is a way to create an if statement in one line. So if what we want, if this thing is defined, then we don't really do anything, right? But if it's undefined, if it's not defined, then we will do something. So here, if it's defined, I'll just put 2 empty quotes like that. Then if it's not defined, I'll say die, like wait. Is there a shortcut here? Let me see if this works. Direct script access denied. Okay, I want to try and see if that works, actually, if that's the correct syntax. Okay, direct script access denied. Okay, so it actually works. If this is not defined, So you can say defined. This is like saying, if this is not defined, then run this. If it is, then leave and don't just continue. So I need to define this app in my index page here. So here I'm just going to say define. Okay. So this must be defined outside of the file you're trying to check it from, so that we know that we started from the index page instead. And then let me just give it a value. This value doesn't really matter. You can give it an app name. Maybe we can call this app. What do we call this? We can call it forum. Doesn't matter. So now we've defined that. And now if we try to load, then everything loads as fine. So which means in every place that I require this, I should put that at the beginning. Now the problem is we are defining an item here that could change over time. So the problem is if we put this on every file where we need it, we may want to edit later, and that might become a problem. So instead, let's duplicate this require file and put an init file like that. We just call it init. You can call it autoload or something, but I'll call it init. So I'll cut this instead. Then I'll create that file. So new file, PHP, and then this is where I'm going to, we could call it the config file actually, not init. So I'll call it config.php. I'll call it config.inc.php. So let me go back here and let's call it config.inc.php. Okay, so this will work as well. Okay. So only the config file is unprotected, but the rest are, because they always check to see if the config file was loaded first before continuing. So if I don't include the config file like this, this will not load. It will say access denied, which is the same as if I, so if I go to the functions page here, so which is the same as if I try right now to load the functions.php file, so I'll say functions, it will tell me script access denied. So all I need now is to add this to every file that I don't want accessed directly. So for example, I can go to the header file right now, and right at the top here, I will put my PHP tags, paste that, and close the tags. So that's for protection right there. So let's try this and see if it's going to work. If I say header.inc.php will not load either. But you see that the other one will load. Which one is this? Signup.inc, right? So, which other one is? Actually, it's just signup.inc. Or let's say success.alert.inc. So let me do success.inc.php. There's actually alert here. Yeah, so your settings were successful. We're not supposed to see this. So what I'm supposed to do now is grab this and put it there in the alert. Where is that? Alert. Right at the top here. That way, if I refresh, it will tell me direct script access denied. So that's good. Let's go back here to the sign up. So put this for protection in every script that is includable. So fail alert. There we go. Yep. All right, so that's great. Let me just close all files from this side, and let me go back now to the index page. Okay, so on every page we have to include these two files. So I'm going to grab these. Let's go to this index, this post. Let me paste that there. Make sure there's no space here before you put your PHP tags. Very important. Save that. Let's go to profile settings. Same thing. Save that. Let's go to profile. Every page that should be accessible directly. We'll have that, not this one, not that one. Okay, so things are looking great now. Back to the index page. At this point, we want to start loading stuff. Now, I want the way, let's see here. Let me go to index.php again. Okay, cool. So everything looking good here. Now, the login thing, the logged in thing should not show at this point because we want to be able to sign up first. So let me go back to functions.php. Now this time I want it to return false to show that I am not logged in. So since I'm not logged in, it doesn't show me that post thingy. So now what we want to do is, if I go back to my index page, if logged in, right, let's put an else statement here so we can do some other stuff if we are not. So let's just say a tag, right? We'll say, actually no, not an a tag. I need to activate a pop-up, so I'll use JavaScript. So here I'm just going to put a div and close it, and then here I'm going to say, please log in to post. Please log in to post. Wait, let's say click here to log in. Click here to log in and post. Or something like that, right? So let's come back, refresh. Oh, sorry there. This is supposed to be else full colon. All right. So click here to log in and post. Now let's make it look a bit nicer. Instead, what I wanted to do is use the alert instead. So what I would do, grab the success alert. Where is this success alert? Right here. I just want to grab its thingy here, come back and put it right here. Let me move it in. And let me grab that and put it here. I can remove this now. Click here to log in and post. Let's remove the hide from here. So saved. Let's get back to business. And then, so click here to log in and post. So here you are not logged in. Click here to log in and blah blah blah. Now here we're going to put an on-click listener to listen for a click. And also let me change the style here so that the cursor is a pointer. That way a user can know that they can actually click on this. You're not logged in. Click here to log in and post. So let me try text align center as well. Let's see how that changes things. Okay, great. You're not logged in. Click here to log in and post. Great. So at least the user will know that they're not logged in when they see posts over here. Also, one thing I forgot, previous page, next page, we need at least to know down here what page we are on, right? That's usually better. So let me put a div around here and just say page 1 like that. That's one thing I forgot in the design. Now the problem is this moves everything around unexpectedly. So maybe I can add a style and say display and put flex. Let's see if that helps at all. Okay, it does help. And let's say justify content space between. Let's see if that will work. Okay, actually did work. but there's one guy here remaining, which is this one. I don't know what this was for. Let's remove that. That's what's giving us that space. And there we go. Okay, so next page, page 1, previous page. Very good. So at least now we can have a list of posts here, which is nice. Now, when we click here, we should that login thingy should show up. Also, I want to make it such that the post loads with a fade in, so that when we post something, it fades in instead of just showing up. So here I'm going to add an animation. So I'm just going to do add keyframes. Very simple to add animations. I'm going to call the keyframe, the animation appear like this. So this is how you add animations. Then you tell it what properties you want to be available at 0% and others at 100%. Now you can put different things at different percentages. You can put properties at 50%, 30%, 20%, and so on, and it will follow that. But for me, I just want it to be invisible at 0% of the animation and then totally visible at 100% of the animation. So I can do this to these guys and then add, let's say, opacity like this. So it starts opacity at 0 and then it ends at 1. That's maximum. So as simple as that. So I can put other properties here like changing of the background color, etc., but that's irrelevant. Then now all I need to do is go to the post content itself. This is the post thingy. I'll add a style called animation, and all I need to do is tell it which animation I want to add, which is appear. Then how long should it take? I want it to take 1 second, and then use an easy ease at the end. Okay, so if I now refresh my page, you see now it appears slowly like that, but not enough, I guess. Let's try 3 seconds. So I'm going to refresh, and there we go. There it appears. I like that. Okay, cool. Now, when I click here, I want the sign up page to show. So if you remember very well, when we go to the sign up inc, there is a hide class. So as soon as I remove that hide class, I will see my sign up thingy. So that's all I need to do. In JavaScript, I just need to tell it to remove this hide thingy. So I'll give this guy a name so I can always access it easily. I'll call it JS because I want, this is a class for JavaScript, just to use in JavaScript. So I'll call it sign up. What is this thing called? It's a model, sign up model, something like that. So JS sign up model, great. I'll copy that. Now inside the sign up model, because this is the model itself we're going to be controlling, so I would rather put the JavaScript right here so that as soon as I load the page, the JavaScript that functions with it is included. So in here, I'm going to create a variable called signup and say it's equal to an object like that. Okay, simple and straightforward. So now this is an object. Now everything I put in here, I can access by just saying signup dot whatever item I put in there. So I want to put some functions in here. So I'll give me some space like this. And the first function I'm going to add will be called show, like that, full colon. And then I'll say, you see, inside an object in JavaScript, you put things like this. You say, you can put information, for example, name, you put a full colon, and then you say John in quotes because it's a string, and then a comma, and then you say age, full colon, 24. And then when you want to access this information, see what I've done here. I can just say alert me what is signup.age, for example. It should show me 24. So if I now refresh this page, you see 24 there, right? Same thing if I want to check the signup.name, the name will be John. Okay, so if I now refresh, there it says John. Now in an object, you don't just put values, you can also put functions, entire functions in here. So for example, I can say what will I call the function? I'll just call it my func. You can call it anything you want really. So like that, full colon, and then I'll say this is equal to a function like that, and then put opening and closing brackets there. And then I'll just say, since it's a function, I can put things like return maybe 34 times 46, something like that. And then I'll say I want to see what's inside sign up my func, like that. And then it will just give me the result of that function operation. So if I refresh, there we go. Function return. Oh, the reason is, wait. I don't know what happened here. It's supposed to return that. My function. Oh, it's because I'm returning its content. Here I'm supposed to put those two brackets to make it actually evaluate the function. Sorry about that. So let me refresh, and there we go. So it does evaluate this time. Okay, so those are the things to remember. So instead of doing all of this, this can be like this, right? Like that, and then like that, and then you can do this and do that, and then finally that. So as you can see, this is the sign up object. But in my sign up object, what I want to do is say, in the sign up, it should know whether I am logged in or not. I think I can do that in the login instead. Okay, so let me remove this. I'll change my function to show. Let's remove that. So this function will be called show. So to access it, I'll just say signup.show, and it's equal to a function. What I want this function to do is simply display this item, and it can do that by just removing this class. So I'll just say document dot query selector. Okay, I want to grab a specific item. Don't forget this dot because it's a class name we're trying to grab, and simply say dot class list dot remove. What are we removing? We are removing the hide class. Simple as that. We're grabbing this item from the document, and then we're going into its class list and removing a class called hide. Simple and straightforward. So signup.show, we will do this. So now we can grab this and put it right about on this alert. You are not logged in. So when somebody clicks on this div, that's what they should get. So I'll say on click. What do we do on the click? We'll look for an object called signup and .show. Because it's a function, we put those two there like that. Now for this to work, obviously we have to have included the signup.inc.php thingy. So let's test this. I'll refresh. The moment I click here, look at that, sign up. Okay, click there to sign up, and let's do the signing up. Now the sign up model should be able to send information once we sign up. First, it should be able to evaluate or validate the form and then send us information. So first of all, let's go to the sign up inc thingy. So instead of this being a div, let's make it a form. I want to select to make sure I know where the ending is. It's right here. So I'll do form and come back here and do form. So I should have done that in the design. Okay, so nothing looks to have changed. That's great. Now let's change the method here. Method is equal to post, but I don't want this to submit immediately. So I'm just going to say on submit. Let's do something. Instead on submit, let's go to signup.submit like that. Okay, So I don't want it to just submit. It should instead evoke a function that is inside signup. So let's create that function. We'll put a comma here and say submit. This one is equal to a function, like that. You can put a comma at the end here in preparation for the next function. So this one here, we should give it the form itself here. Okay, so how do we pass in the form? It's the thing that has been submitted here. So we'll just say event. We'll grab it from the event and say event dot current target. Okay, so that's what we'll pass in. The current target is the form itself. So once we get here, oh, wait a minute. This sign up is a button. So this should, as things are right now, if I just click here and then click sign up, it will tell me, oh, please fill out this field. Please fill that one out, etc., etc. Please fill this one out. Okay, and then it submits, right? But let's tell it that this one should be an email. So where is this? Type should be email, so it can confirm, give us an actual email. This one is password, retype password. That's great. Placeholder. Does this have a type? It should be password. Type as well here. Password. Okay, cool. Okay, this is great. Now I want us to submit this form once we are done. So let's create an Ajax thingy. So I'm just going to say let Ajax. Actually, let's not use let. Let's use var Ajax is equal to new XML HTTP request. So we want to make an HTTP request using Ajax. Now, for those of you that do not know what Ajax is when we refresh your page like this, you're making an HTTP request to the server. But the page has to refresh for that request to happen, right? But using JavaScript, we can use a technology called Ajax to make exactly the same request without refreshing the page. So that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to hold this to account, click sign up, and have it sign up without us refreshing the page. So we'll do this in the background. So all we need to do is create that Ajax HTTP request and then tell it that to open it. So we open that request and then we simply send some information. So we say send, like that. Simple and straightforward. I'll just send the form itself, this one here. Whatever is contained in there will be sent. And then to open it, we tell it that we are using the post method. Now, the method here, it does not really matter. Method post. I just used it so that it makes an actual submit. But this is irrelevant here because we are not actually allowing the form itself to make a submission. We'll do it manually. So we have to tell it that we are using a post request, not a get request. And then the question is, where are we going? What page do we want to access? So I'm going to call this page ajax.inc.php. You can give it any file name that you want. And then let's put true there to make sure that this whole thing happens in the background. Another thing we need to do is listen up for a response. So we say add event listener. So we add an event listener, just like that, to listen for a specific event. What are we listening for? We are listening for a ready state change. Whenever the ready state changes, we listen. So what is the ready state? There's a thing called ready state on this HTTP request. When we create it, I think it's 1. When we open, it's 2. When we send something, it's 3. And then when we receive a message, it's 4. So we just want to check for when the ready state is equal to 4. So let's put a function here that will run when that every time the ready state changes. But we don't want to be told every time it changes. We just want to check if the ajax.readyState, capitalize that S there. If it's equal to 4, then we know we've gotten a response. And the response is going to be inside an object called ajax.responseText, like so. So we're going to alert just to show us what is inside the ajax.responseText once the ready state is 4. Now you can also check for the status if you want. If the status is 4 or is 200, sorry, which means everything went well. If the status is not 200, it's possible that the internet has a problem. So if it's equal to 4, then here we can check if ajax.status is equal to 200, and then we can do this. Now if the status is not 200, then we can do an alert and say please check your internet connection or something. You can check what error is in there by checking in the Ajax object. There should be an error thingy there, but maybe we'll do that. So this is how we listen for the response. So let's try this. Now also, I don't want the form to refresh the page, so I'm just going to tell it to in fact, let me just send the event itself, not just the target. So I'll say event, and then here I'll just put E, like so, and then I'll say let form is equal to E dot current target. So we do the targeting from here, like so. So the event is the submit, and then in there's a thing called current target, which is the thing that was clicked or the thing that evoked the event. In this case, it's the form. So that's why we're grabbing the form from there. Now, the reason I've done this is because I need the event for something else, so I needed to submit it here. Now, before we do this, first of all, we'll say e.prevent default action. So prevent default. This will make sure that the form does not actually refresh the page, as is the normal behavior. So here, if I put a username, I put an email, and then click sign up, please check your internet connection. Okay, so it didn't find the file. That's why it's saying that. But at least things are working. We know that. So what I need to do is go to forum, new file, put some PHP tags, save this as ajax.inc.php. Okay, now here I'm just going to echo. So whatever I echo in this Ajax file will be returned as a result. So everything working. Everything working. Yeah. So whatever I echo here, so if I see that message, then I'll know that things worked out. So let's try this again. I'll click sign up and it says everything working. Okay, but the page did not refresh. Now, what I want to really see is what was sent. So I'll just say print readable. I want to see what was sent in the post variable, like that. What was posted? So click, and there we see we get an empty array for some reason. Okay, great. That's not what I wanted. I thought the form could be sent just like this, but apparently not. So very disappointing. I thought it would grab the inputs by itself and do the deed. So, okay, what I could do is, let me just do a bit of research here. I'll do console.log e, like that. Okay, just want to see what's in the event. So right click, inspect the element, go to console, refresh, click there, And then let's try and submit this. So this is the event here, the submit event. So there's a target, which is the form. Okay, that's fine. Let's see, target, current target is also a form. That's great. But there's usually an object here that I can just grab and submit, which is usually the form. So what is going on? Current target. Okay, submitter. That's so the submitter is the button that was clicked. Okay, I didn't actually know that. You can do this. Okay, original target, form, default prevented true. Everything looks fine, but not to worry. What we will do is current target, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what we're going to do is do this manually. If I go to the sign up page, everything I have here are inputs, right? Input, input, input. So all I need to do is grab all the inputs and send them. So just look at their name, I use that as a key, and then get their value and use that as a value. Okay, so here what I'll do is I'll say, instead of saying form here, e.current target, I'll say inputs, right? So let inputs is equal to e.current target, which is the form, dot query selector. So let's search in the form for all inputs. So notice I haven't put a dot here. I want it to search for tag names. So you don't put any hash or point, you just say input. Anything that has an input as a tag name will be grabbed. And since there are many of them, I'll say query selector all, like that. And then I can now loop through all the inputs and just say for, let's say key in inputs, like so. So I'm using this loop to loop through whatever results are here. That way I can grab their keys. Actually, I don't need keys here. I just need their names and all that. So let's use a normal for loop. So I'm just going to say for, like this. Boom. Let's remove these two. So things, let's change that to inputs. So inputs.length, right? Inputs. That's great. So in order to add to things, I need to create a form. So here I'll say let form is equal to new form data, like that. So this is how we create our own form. So we're going to create our own, since the form we wanted to submit didn't work, we are creating our very own form like this. Just say new form data and that becomes your form. So I'll copy this. And maybe I should have just grabbed the form here, because this is getting, let me try that. Give me a second. Let's do this and say JS sign up dash form, like that. Let me try this again. So just by grabbing that. So for now, I'm going to hide this code that I tried to create here. I still want to see if there could be a shortcut to this. So let form is equal to, we'll say document dot query selector, and let's grab dot JS form, like this. Let me try this before I give up. Doesn't work still. Okay, tough luck. So let me undo this. And this name I gave it. Oops. Okay, so we created the form here, and then we loop through the inputs that we got from the current form. And then we do this, we say form dot append. So we add to the form. Now the way it works, you add your key here and you add your value over here. So our value in this case will be equal to the current input dot value. Simple as that. Then the key current input dot name, and let's remove that. So we are grabbing whatever the name, so make sure the names of these inputs are there so that we grab from them and the values will be grabbed as well. So let's refresh. Let's try this again. Let me try now. Okay, this is good. Now at least we got some information. We had retype password, email, and username. So very cool. Let's make sure our password is required. So let's put here required. The same way it's here, required is equal to true. So I'll copy that and paste it here. Same thing here as well. Okay. So clickety-click, there we go. So let's put a real username. My password will be password, and here as well, password. Okay, so let's try and sign up. So if I click, that's what I get. This is the information I sent. So now that we are grabbing the information that was sent, this is going to be great. Now we can actually do some logging in. So in order to log in, we need a database and we need a way to access the database, and we need to be able to save that information in the database. So this is where the PHP My Admin section comes in for MySQL. So just go here and type in your browser localhost/php my admin. Okay, once you type, you get here, and then we have this database place here. So if you have a password, that a username and password that you have to enter while you open this page, that's the username and password you're supposed to enter in the PHP application as well, so it can be able to access your database. But in this case, we'll use the defaults because clearly we don't have a username and password on our database. So here I will click on new to create a new database. This database will be called forum_db, and you can call it anything you want, just don't put spaces there. So I'll just call it my forum maybe, and then create, and just like that we have a new database. It's right there. So now I can create a table. I need to have some users, right? So I'll create a table called users. Number of columns depends on what fields you want to enter. Here we have username, email, and password. We don't care about the retype password. So already we have 1, 2, 3. We also may need to know the date when the user was logged in, etc., etc. So that's up to you what information you want to put. But so far it looks like 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the date is fine. But let's put 5. Let me click and go. So I added an extra one for the ID. So the ID, let's leave it there. It's an integer, that's fine. Let's make sure we select auto increment so that it automatically adds a number to the ID. Make sure the index is primary key. And here, let's add username. Username is of type variable character. Let's put, it's up to you what size of username you can accept. How many characters? I'll put 30. Let's put an email here. I will put 100 characters. Make sure you change it to variable character. And we need a password as well. It's a variable character as well. Let's put 255. And let's put a date so that we know when this user created the account. We'll put date over there. Okay, great. Now here, select no, so that we can allow an empty value in the date. Which other one can allow a no? I think the rest need a value, so we'll leave them as they are, and let's click save. So there we go, and we'll be using our email to log in, so we'll be using the email to search in the database. So let's add an index to the email. If you're going to be using usernames to search for users, you may as well add an index there as well, or if you'll be using the date, but we are not going to do that in here. We are just going to use the email when signing up, and that's it. So now if I click on browse, there's a table here that's empty. So you can always go back to your database by clicking on the database name and then clicking on the table you want to see, and this is the information in there. Okay, so let's have it save some information in there, and for that we need to create a connection to this database from our application. Now you can connect to any database as long as it's on the internet, right? So as long as it's on the internet and you have the credentials, the username, password, and host name. So the host name is like the server, and then the username and password. So your website can be on your local machine and your database can be online, and you can have them, you can get information from there as well, doesn't matter. Or you can have your website on a different server and your database on a completely different server, and things work still, as long as you have the right credentials, you have the right host name, etc. So in order for that to happen, let's go back to our Ajax page, and let's create a few functions that we may need. So in here, I'm going to include the functions file. So just like we included it here, we'll require it in the Ajax file. So I'm going to just require that baby over there, like so. Also, I want to be using sessions, right? So what I'll do is I'll do session start. So you may be asking, what is a session? A session is just a variable that holds data between pages. So for example, when you're logged into Facebook or something, or any social website, even if you open another tab, as long as it's the same browser, it will still recognize that it's you that's logged in. That's because every browser has a session that's going on. So you can save information to that particular session, so that no matter what page you're on, as long as it's the same website, the information you save in the session will be persistent. This way we don't have to ask the viewer to sign up or log in on every single page. We can just, once they log in once, then we keep that information in the session, and then we can access it at any point, regardless of the page they are on. So that's how we do it, session start. Now let's create some functions inside function.php that can actually connect to our database. Okay, now before we do that, I want to be able to know when something was posted. So in order to do that, we're going to put an if statement and use the server. So this variable comes with PHP and it has information about what's happening in the server. So we can check what the request method currently is. Is it a GET request or a POST request? So if you want a beginner course on PHP, there's links in the description, or a beginner course in HTML, the links are in the description for you to understand some of these things a little bit better. So if the request method is equal to post, which means something was posted, then that's when we can put this in here for now. Right. So also something else should be set. Let's say not empty post data underscore type. So we want to make sure that we have a variable called data type that was posted as well, because it's important to know we're going to be sending a lot of different kind of data into the Ajax file. So we need to know what to do with it, and that will be determined by the data type that we send. So for example, when we receive this information, what is this information? Is it a sign up? Is it a login? Is it a reading of posts? What is it? So here I'm going to search and say if post data type right there is equal to sign up, then we do what we came here to do. So we sign up in this case. All right. Good. And also the result of this should be Ajax. Oh, not Ajax, sorry, that would be JSON, sorry. So the question would be what is JSON data? Now JSON is just a way of getting information from one system to another. In short, it's actually a method to convert an array into a string. So for example, if you notice here, we are using JavaScript on the client side, which is the side that the user is using, but on the server side we are using PHP. These are two different languages, two different systems, which means they don't work the same. The way JavaScript saves arrays is different from the way PHP saves arrays. So how do we communicate? How do I send data from JavaScript, for example, to PHP? We use JSON. Here we did send this data in form of a post because PHP understands what post data is. But we can also use JSON. Now JSON is simple. If you had an array, for example, let's say an array like this, which had name John. Then if I duplicate this again, let's put age, this one has 24, etc., etc. This is an array in PHP. But if I want to send this array to the client side, I need to convert it to a string because information through the internet only moves through strings. It doesn't move as arrays or anything like that. So the equivalent here would be something like this. Name John, like that, and then comma, age 24. So this string like this, as a string, this is converted back to an array on the other side. So it will convert. Now you don't have to worry about how to do this. There are functions that will do this for you, so no problem. So what I'll do here is I'll create a variable called info, and then give it one item here called data type, and then set that to an empty string. Now info is going to be sent back at the end here. Now remember, like I said, whatever I echo out here will be sent as the result. So I want to echo info, but because info is an array, I can't echo it like this. I'll have to convert it to a string. Now I'm going to use the function called JSON encode to convert it to a JSON string and then echo it. Now it only has one item called data type and then that. So now what I can do here is, for example, I can change the data type here. Since the data type is equal to something, then I can change it here. Or I can just do this and say data type is equal to whatever data type was sent in the post originally, we send it back as a result. Because there can be a lot of Ajax requests happening at the same time. So even when the client side receives that information, we can check what data type is this so that we know what to do with it even here. So that's why in here I will set whatever data type again so that we send it back with the information we send back. Okay, so that will work there. That's great. Now, if the data type is equal to sign up, let's do something about signing up here. Now, what I'll do is create some create a query and then run the query. So I'll say query is equal to, since we are signing up here, I'm going to say insert into users. That's how you insert into a table. Users is the name of the table, and then like that. So this is the basic insert query. Here you put the column names that you want to add. Here you put their corresponding values. So what I'll do here is I'll grab, we'll have username. What I could do is simply go here and copy these guys. These are all the columns that we have. So I'll copy those and bring them here. Let me just remove these and put commas instead. And then copy these same guys here from here. Now we don't have to put the ID. This will be automatically added. So I'm going to copy this and put them there. And then I'll change these into variables by putting a $sign. And then it's always good practice to just put your variables in single quotes like that, whether they are numbers or strings, regardless. And then I can grab them now here and put them here, like so. So let me grab these like so. Ugh, that's weird. I just want to give them values. Oops. Okay. All right. So this one will be email. So I'm just getting values from the post variable and adding them here. Now, since there's no date that comes with it, let's create our own date, the current time. So the format is YMD HIS. Hour, minute, second. I think I put just date, not date time, but regardless, this is fine. And then names can have apostrophes or single quotes and all that. So we need to escape those values. So I'm going to say add slashes, not add C slashes, but add slashes like that. Go to the end and close that. So add slashes is going to escape all those dangerous characters from the email or the username. And then the password, we need to hash this password. So there's a function conveniently called password hash. Let's use that so that we encrypt the password, and there we go, and we leave that as password default. Okay, so this is great, and then we can do that. Now we need to run the query, so we need a function that actually runs the query, and that function we're just going to call it query. We haven't created it yet, but we'll create it, and then we pass in whatever query was there, like so. Okay. So after the user signs up, we want to log that user in. Okay, that way we know they are now logged in. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a function called authenticate. Authenticate. You can call these functions anything. Don't worry about what I'm doing here. So what I want to do is read from the database an item with this email. Also, we need to confirm that this email does not exist. So I forgot about that, but we'll do it. No worries. So I'm just going to say query select from users. That's how you read. You say where email is equal to, and then let's put that email there. Then say limit 1, so that it, as long as it finds one result, it can do, it can exit. And then let's run that query. Now this query function will return a row if one exists. Okay. And then once we return that row, then we can authenticate that row into the session. So we're just adding the user information into the session. But we need to do this first before we do any of this. So let's try this at the top. We want to just make sure that, actually, let me put this here. So we'll say, check if this email already exists. So we grab the email and check row, there it is. So if row exists, so we'll say if not row. So meaning row is empty, then let's do all of this. Right? But let me just do if row like this, and then let's do an else. So if row exists, then let's send some information there and not do this. So we just send information here and say, we'll just call it message is equal to that email already exists. Okay, and then we won't authenticate or anything like that. It will be echoed here and sent back as part of the info stuff in there. So, and then I can also put another one here called, let me do this, duplicate this. This one I can call it success. Let's start by saying success is false. Okay, and then I'll grab this. Once we authenticate, we can say success is true. All right, so all well and good. Select blah 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 row. Now we need to create these functions, query and authenticate, otherwise we'll have a problem. So let's go to the functions page and create those guys. So I'll say function authenticate. Let me duplicate this and write function query. Authenticate will take in a row. All we need to do is just save this row. So we're going to say, wait, where is session start in this case? Interesting. You know what, instead of the Ajax part having session start, I'll put session start in the functions page right at the top here. Okay, since we load this anyway on every page. So authenticate, what we would do is we're just going to say session user is equal to row. That's all. So we are saving our users row in the session user. So here we're just going to say if not empty session user. If it's not empty, then return true. Otherwise return false. So when there's only one statement in an if statement, you don't need to put the curly braces. It's fine. So if this exists, then we are logged in. If not, return that. Okay, then the query here, we're expecting a query like that for the query thingy. So every time we query, we need to make a connection, right? So let's make a connection. Now, if we go to the init, where is that init config file? Since the config file is the one where we are defining stuff, let's define our database stuff from here. So here, this one, I'll call it DB user. In our case, the default username for our database is root. So if you haven't changed your username or database on your database, it should be root. The password will be empty, but if you're using mump, it should be root. Then let's also put the DB host name. In our case, since it's a local machine, it's localhost. But if it's a live machine, it will have the server name of, you can check in the server and it will tell you what it is. So the host name, the username, the password, and then finally the DB name itself, the database name. In our case, the database name is myforumdb. Okay. So now that we have this, we can just make a connection finally. Yeah, I think making a single connection is better. So what I'll do is, what to do here? What to do? Okay, let me go back here. Query. We could create another file called connection, but I don't want to create so many files. So let's go back to config and let's just say make a database connection. I want to make one connection and then run many queries instead of making a connection every time. So here I'm going to say con, that's what I'll call it, the connection is equal to MySQLi connect. So in order to connect, I just need so you can edit these when you change your database. So first of all, I need the DB host. Then I need the DB user. Then I need the DB password. And then I need the DB name itself. Okay, that's it. Made the connection. Now we'll say if not connection like this. So if the connection did not work, then let's exit the program and say could not connect to database like that. Okay, great. So let's try this. Okay, so it seems everything is good. And so it seems we connected to the database. Now in the functions, I want to be able to grab the same con value. So I'm going to use the global keyword like that so that it can grab it from the outside the function. Don't overuse global. It's not good practice. But if it's one item like this, it's okay. Okay, so here let's make a query. So we're going to say, you know, I forget how to use my SQLi because I use PDO most of the time. So I'll try and remember this. It goes like result is equal to MySQLi query. Yeah, something like this. Let's add the connection and let's put the query. Okay. Now, if everything went well, if there's a good result, let's do, but at the end here, I just want to say return false if none of this works. We return false if nothing at all happens. Now, if the result is true, then let's check if result and MySQLi num rows result is greater than 0. So if there's a result from this, then let's loop through that result. So I'm going to say, what will I say here? I'm going to say data is equal to an empty array. And then I'll say, let's use a while loop. While the condition is while row is equal to MySQLi fetch. Let's put result in there. Fetch a sock, an associative array, and then let's add whatever result is to here. So I'll do this row. So this is saying add to the end of this array. This is an empty array. Add to the end of the array whatever row we got from there through the while loop of this result. Simple as that. And then since we are done with this, let's return data. Let's say return data. Now, since the return key exits the function, we will never get to where we return false. So return work there. Okay, good. That's how we run our queries. So with this, it should work. Everything should work. As a result, logged in. I can also create another function called logout, I think. I'll say logout, and if not empty, then let's unset it. Okay, so let's say unset like that, and let's remove this. So we can check if we are logged in. We can log out by just deleting the user information that's saved in the session. That's what we are doing here. Then we can authenticate by adding the user information there, and then we can run a query like that. So things are looking up. So let's see how well this is going to work. And once we get the result back in the signup inc, this is after we submit. There's a result here. What to do now? Alert. And then I want to refresh the page. So I'm going to say window.location.reload. That way, if we authenticate the user, then we can refresh the page so that now they can be able to actually post something. So let's refresh this. They are not allowed to post. So let's create a user. So I'll put my details. Also, since there is a message here, instead of alerting, okay, wait a second. Let me go to Ajax Inc. Right here, I can put another message. Success is true. Let's put a message and say, your profile was created successfully. Okay. So with this, let me click sign up. Direct script access denied. Huh. Interesting. So what happened for our script access to be denied? What did we include? Oh, we include functions, but we didn't include the, sorry about that. We did not include this config file. So back here, inside Ajax. Yeah, we need to require that every time we require this. So back again, let's try this. Okay, so sign up. Okay, success false, data type nothing. So the data type is empty. That's why things didn't go well. So what I forgot to do is in the sign up, when sending information, here I'm adding things to the form. I should also add one other thing here. So I'm just going to say form.append. So I'm adding data type. And then what data type will it be? Signup. Okay, so adding it to the form as part of the form as well. Okay, good. So let's refresh the page, try again. So we keep going until we finally get it. Password, and then finally password there. And let's try one more time, fingers crossed. Okay. Now we have a fatal error. So it says, MySQL exception, you have an error in your SQL syntax, check the manual. Where it says near, that's where the error begins, from users. Okay. Where email is equal to email, limit 1. Okay. So let's see in the Ajax here. What line number is that? It says function number 15, but I want to know where it starts from, which is MySQL query functions. I want that Ajax Inc. line 23. Okay, there we go. So right here. So select, here I forgot a star, sorry. Should be select all, same thing here, star. Okay, select all columns. Right, so back, we try again. This is so much fun. Password. Let's try again. Another fatal error. Okay, this time it says MySQL line num rows result must be of type a boolean was given. Okay. Why was a boolean given? But let's check to see if in the users table anything was saved. And it seems it was. So things did go well. The only problem is the way we created our function here. So I'll say not is boo, like this. Yeah, that should solve the problem. If this is a boolean, not, which means it's not a boolean, then let's continue. Otherwise, if it is, let's say. The reason is because we have this error is because there was no result on the query that we ran, so it was trying to loop through that. And the reason there was no result is because this query does not provide a result. So the question is, was this a fatal error? It says fatal error, which means it didn't get to authenticate the user. Okay. Now, here we can get to test to see if somebody tries to use the same email, what do they get? Since it did save the data that we wanted, just didn't go very well. And then I try that, I'll get this message and say that email already exists. Okay, so that part works. So what I'm going to do is go to operations and delete everything from here by saying truncate. So truncate, and then let's try one more time. Things should work this time. And there we go. Okay, success true, your profile was created successfully. And then the page refreshes, and now you can see the part where the user can post, which means they are actually logged in. All right, so now we need a way to post, to allow the user to make a post. Also, we need to update the user details over here. So what we're going to do is, there's a user image here, but instead of me having to ask the question, does the file exist, for me to actually show it, I'll make a function to do that. Okay, so what we're going to do is go to the functions.php here, And let's create a function called getImage, like that. Okay, so getImage, here we're going to be given the image path, and all we need to do is check if it exists or not. So we say if file exists path, then let's return the path itself. Otherwise, we're going to return a different path, which is we're going to just call it user.jpg, JPEG, like that. So I'm going to put maybe inside assets, I guess, /images/user.jpg. So here you can get any placeholder, user placeholder image. Let me go to assets, images, right here, open folder, and let's just paste it there, and I'll rename it to user.jpg. Yes, wait, oh, there's another one here, user.jpg. So let me delete that, rename this user.jpg. And then now I'm going to go to my header. Where is header here? Where is header? So header down there. So this is where we have our image, right? So what I'll do instead is put a PHP and say PHP, oops, sorry, get image, and then close that. Now we need to get the user information. Now that user information we know is inside session user, and then session user, that's where the user row is, and we need an image thingy there. This is the thing we forgot, actually, the image column. So let me add that real quickly. So let's go back to our users table. Let's go to the structure of the table. Okay, so let's add one more column and call it image. And here it's going to be a variable character because it's going to keep the file path. We just put 1024. Select null so that it allows empty values, and that's it. So let's go to browse. You can see there's image there and it's empty. Okay. So get image, and let's go to functions here. This may be a problem if file exists on a null value. That may cause an error. So we just say if not empty. Let's just check to see if it's not empty. Empty path and file exists. So if it's not empty and then the file exists, return the path. Okay. Now let's go back to the header. So here we'll echo out whatever is in there. So if I come back and refresh the page, we get problems there. Okay. Now the thing is, I can't really see the error here, so I'll right click and say view page source. Then I will be able to properly see the error. It says undefined array key image. Okay, so we have to log in again to allow that, because the version of the user information we added inside the inside the session doesn't have that new column we just added, so we have to log in again. So this brings me to the idea that we have to create a login page. So this sign up Inc., I am just going to copy everything from here and go to forum, right click, new file, paste and save. This one will be login.php. Okay, login.inc.php. So since this is the login version, every instance reference to sign up, let's change it to login. So like that. Okay, even this here, let's change it to login. That is changed to login as well, and yep, I think that actually works. So now we can go to the index page, and where we have the sign up, we can also put the login version of things. Yeah. Okay, cool. So now I want it in such a way that when I decide to show the sign up, I should not show the login version. So say login, and instead we add a hide to the login version there. Okay. And then we should also have the hide version of things, I guess. The hide function here. So let me duplicate this a little bit, like so. This one is hide. So on the hide here, signup.hide, we just leave the hide one and then add that there. So what we're doing is adding back the hide class when we say signup.hide. So let's go to the login and let's do exactly what we did here. Let's put the signup version and hide it. So in the class list, we add a hide instead for the other one, so that once we show one, we remove the other, we hide the other one. So here I'll say hide, and let me remove the sign up version here. Let's just say add, like so. All right, that is great. So we have those two things there, and I'm going to go to the index version here, and on the header, let's go to the profile anyway. Now on the profile, what I want to do is in the Ajax, sorry, I want to put an else if statement here. So grab this and do that. Control Shift D or Shift D on Notepad++, I think. So we have a login version, and we should have a logout version of things here. So I'm just duplicating this if statement so that we can do different things on the login, on the logout. So on this one, all we need to do is just say logout. We have a function called logout in functions here. Where is it? There it is, logout. So that's all we need to do. So let me go back here. Yep, we just need to call that function, and that's it, to log out the user. So I can remove all of this except the message maybe. All right, and then we just say you were successfully logged out. Okay, and then when we come back now to the index, once we log out there, no, actually not the index, the logout, I think we can put it inside, where can we put this? I'm going to create, on the index here, I'm going to create another, I'll put it right here, another script tag. This one will be called user. So this one will be var user is equal to, and then let's create an object like so. So user logout, oops, function. Okay, Now, how do we log out? We just send an HTTP request, just like with the submit here. So I'm just going to copy everything from here. Come back to the index and paste it there. Okay. So no need to prevent default. And we don't really need any of this. We don't need, we do need the form. Oops. So I need this part where I create the form. I don't need the loop. I need the data type so that it's logout. And that's it. That's really all I need from here. And then I open up, alert myself to the result, and then reload the page. Okay, I think that does it. So I think it's better to put this in the header because, yeah, so let me remove that. Let me go to the header inc and put that there instead, because the header is always there and we can always use this one. Okay, cool. So with that in mind, I can now go to right here where the header is and put an if statement here to see if the user is logged in. So I'm going to put an if statement and say if logged in, because that will return either true or false. If that's true, then we will do what's here and say and if, like that. Okay, but then we'll add an else statement instead. So we'll say else. So if we are not logged in, instead, let me just add a span here and say we'll just put the text login, and then with that I'm just going to put an on-click listener, and here this one will do login.show, like that. All right, and then here where it says hi user, I'll grab this again. Instead of the user, we'll put the username, which will be in username, like that. For now, since the image isn't there, I'm just going to hide it like so, so that it just shows the name, and then it will show the login like that. Okay, so if I refresh, oops, now I have a problem again. Let me right click and view page source. So there's no key. Okay, so I think there's a problem here. Yeah, I think that's the problem. When signing up, let's go to the Ajax Inc. What I can do is check out what's inside the session variable. First of all, what is stored there? So I'm just going to do print readable and paste that like so in the functions page. Let me also do echo some pre-tags, because I want it to look much nicer. So I'll refresh. That way I see what's in there. So there's an array in there. That's the problem. That's why things are not working as intended. Okay, so I thought so. So what we'll do is when I go to the sign up page, instead of sending on the Ajax, sorry, and the sign up, instead of sending row, I should send row 0, the first record in the row, like that. And that should actually do the trick. So since there's logout here, I need a way to log myself out. So what I'll do is I'll go to functions and just say logout. I'll just run that function there. So refresh and refresh. So there we go. Now it says login because I have logged out myself. I'll try and log in again. So now if I click here, it shows me the login page, which it should show here as well. You're not logged in, click to log in, it should show the login page. So back to the index page, here where we were saying signup.show, it should now be login.show instead. And then back in the header again, here I want to add a bit of styling, so I'll do style and say cursor pointer. That way it looks like a mouse button when I hover on login. So if I click here, it shows me that. I should also have a close button, which I completely forgot about. Here on every model should have a close button. So let's go to the login page right here where we have username. Maybe inside this div there's an input username. What's going on here? Okay. Oh, it's right here where there's a title, and then we have the logo. Right. So what I want to do is put a div here and say close, or let me just put an X, a large X like this, and then let's put a style and let's just tell it to float to the right, and then we'll say on click. Here I'm going to say login dot hide. Is it dot hide or dot close? I don't remember here. It's dot hide. Okay, there we go. So let's try this again. I'll click there, and there is the X. If I click it, it closes, but it doesn't look too good. So let's fix that. Float right, and then let's put a margin around us of 10 pixels. Let's put padding of, actually I could just give it a class name of one of the buttons that I see for next page and previous page, which is class 54. Actually, this one that floats to the other side, class 39. Let's try that. So I'm just gonna go here and tell it class is equal to 39, like so. Let's see how that looks. Okay, much better. It looks like this. But let me move it above everything else, like so. Let's try that. Okay, much better. So now I can close that with that button there. So what's the margin? Margin is okay. I think padding, let me try padding left, 20 pixels. Same thing with padding right. Let's see how that will go. Alright, so refresh, click. Yeah, looks much better. But maybe let's try padding over row to 5 pixels, and then put 10 on these others left and right, so it's a bit smaller. Okay, much better. So now we can close the model from there, like so. Okay, so we'll put exactly the same thing for the sign up. So I'm going to grab that, copy, go to the sign up, and right above, where did I put this? This is right above the title, so there, like so. And then let's change the on click listener. This one goes to the signup.hide. Okay, very cool. Okay, now with the login, we don't need the username, we just need the password and email, that's all. So let's go down to login. Let's remove this username thingy. Let's remove the password retype. Actually, during sign up, I didn't care to validate the information. Sorry about that, we will do that in the end. Okay, so let's see that. Okay, so login, email, and password. Okay, so once that is done, we go to the Ajax part. So this is the login. So we just grab what we received, the email, and the password. Okay, so first of all, we grab the email, and then let's do a check. Check if the email, check if this account exists. Okay, so if it exists, then good. If it doesn't, then we will put, so here I'll just invert this, I'll put an exclamation point. If it doesn't exist, we'll say wrong email or password in the message. So if it doesn't exist, great, we move on. If it does exist, let's check to see, which is right here. We're just going to say row is equal to row 0, because the first item from that row is the row that we want. And then all we need to do now is do a password verify. So I'll grab this. Let me put an if statement here. So there's a function called password verify, which is complemented by this password hash. So here we'll put the hash and the password. So the password is the one that the user has entered. The hash is the one that comes from the row, the database in this case. So here we'll just say password like that. So we'll wrap this inside an if statement. Say if password verify, which means things went well. Okay. Correct is right there. And then if things didn't go well, we repeat this message, wrong email or password. But if everything went well, let's authenticate. So we'll do exactly what we had done here to authenticate. Let's grab all that. Success is equal to true. Where is this? And let's do authentication. Where is that? Now I need to remove that. So I think this was a better way to do things. I'll copy that and do exactly the same thing here as well. That way I don't have to put the 0 there, since I've already done it here. All right. So correct, authenticate the row, blah, 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 success. And wait, wrong email or password. Let's put a message there. Successful login. Okay, then the rest, let's delete. All right, so that's how we log in. We read from the database to check for the email first of all. And once we check that there is actually a record with this email, if it doesn't return a record, then wrong email or password. If it does, then we verify the password. If it's true, then we write that. If not, then wrong email or password. We don't want to tell the user which of the two is wrong for security reasons. And then back now to the where is the login part. Once we do this, we'll echo out whatever it is and reload the page. So let's see if this actually works. So I'll click on there and put my email. Let me put the wrong email just for fun and click. So it says wrong email password. These error messages are not showing very well, but we'll change that soon. And the problem here, it refreshes regardless whether everything is correct or not, but we need to be able to check that. So this is where the we need to convert things to Ajax. So I'm going to say let object, or obj, I'll abbreviate it as that, is equal to json.parse. This is how you convert JSON back to an array in JavaScript. So we'll convert the text that was received. We're assuming it's valid JSON, and we convert it back to an object. And so if the object is valid, so if I say if obj, let me check the type of obj is equal to, Actually, this is irrelevant because this will cause an error if it didn't become an object, so it doesn't really matter here. So what I'll do is we'll alert object dot message, okay, and then we'll say if obj dot success, then reload the page. All right, so let's refresh. Let's start again. I'm going to put stuff that I know is wrong. It says wrong email or password, and it doesn't refresh. So let's try again, email@email.com, and let's put a real password here, and then let's log in. Successful login, and it refreshes. There we go. And then here it says hi, but doesn't show any name, which is very strange, right? Because let's go to here, there is a username. So let's go to header and see what's wrong here. Oh, we are using get image. Sorry about that. Here we're just supposed to echo this like so. Oops. So why isn't it still showing? Because we didn't put the echo text. We can just put an equal sign here as echo instead of writing PHP. So there we go. There it is. Now, if you go to the user profile, if you click here, it should take us to the user profile. So let's put this inside an A tag, right? And then let's close that up. And this one will take us to profile.php. And then in profile.php, we need to be able to log out a user. So I'll simply duplicate this and just say log out. This doesn't require an A tag at all. This one we can simply say on click, we'll just say user.logout like that. So that will be a function that lives in the header. There's logout there, and there it is. So hopefully this actually works. I want to copy the OBJ stuff I did in here, this part exactly. Right. So let's go back to the header, and I'll paste that here. Okay, so it alerts the message, converts that, and then reloads the page. So let's try that. I'll click that. If I click here, it takes me to my profile page. If I click logout, you were successfully logged out. Thank you. It should actually go to the home page. So in the header, once we log out, .location.href is equal to index.php, like that. So let's try that again. Log out. Okay, there we go, back to the index. Now here we have to log in, right? Yeah, pretty cool. So if I click login again, now I need to have this sign up page so I can sign up again. So let me go to sign up Inc. So right about here, you can put a div. Let's put a style and just say padding 10 pixels. And then in here, we'll say already have an account, login. Click here to log in. Okay, so this I will put inside a span. That way I can use it as a unit. So on click, of course, we'll just say login.show. Simple as that. So, which is the same thing we will do for the sign up. So I'll copy that and let's go to, oh, this is the sign up, right? Let's do the same thing for the login page and go down here. Don't have an account yet. Click here to sign up. Okay, now here we change that to signup.show. So refresh. So if I click here to log in, don't have an account here, click here to sign up. I can click here and then it gives me the sign up page. Now, one thing I forgot, obviously, is to put a style and tell it that cursor should be a pointer. Let's also change the color to light blue. Let's see that. Maybe not so light. Let's just say blue. Okay, click here to sign up. Boom. There we go. So I want the same styling on the sign up page as well. Let's put that there. There we go. Click here to log in. Okay, sign up. Very cool. Okay, so now we can log in, we can sign up. So let me try again another sign up. This time I'll just say Mary, and the email will be mary@email.com. Let's put a password. Now here, if I go back to the ajax.inc, where is this? There's password and wait. I want to grab this and put it, where is this? Right here. In here, password is equal to password hash, but I will hash the same password again. I'll put that here. Then let me grab this instead. I don't want to hash the password while we are here. I want to leave it as it is, like so. Okay. That way I can compare the two, password and password retype. What is the other one called? Retype password. That's the key. So back here, this one is retype password. Okay, great. So I have those two. Then we check if an email already exists, then we talk about that. But then if it doesn't, let's redo an if statement here. Let's do this. What have I done wrong here? Okay. So if row, else if another thing, and then else. So here, else if password is not equal to, you don't need to use 3 of them, you can use 2 like that. Yeah, maybe that is better. If password is not that, then you can say passwords don't match. Okay, great. So let's see that in action. If I just type a weird password, it says passwords don't match. Okay, so I need to change this as well, the way it responds. So back to the login to copy what I had done here. I want to copy just this part. Back to sign up. And right about here where there's an alert, let's refresh that. And then let's say if success, then that's when we refresh the page, only then. Okay, good. So with that refresh, let's click. Let's sign up. Mary@email.com. Let's use a password, and then here I'll type something else. Then let's please sign up, and says passwords don't match. So let me put password really there, and then let's go sign up. So something went wrong, obviously, because nothing's happening. But if I check in the, I can see that those two, that actually worked. But because there's an error here, I want to figure out what the error is. So I'll right click, go to the console. Here it just says unexpected character on line 1. It just means that it didn't return actual JSON. So what I would do is right about here, I'll grab that. I'll say console.log and then put that response text. Before we try to convert it, let's see what it has. And so I will delete this record, the Mary record, so I can redo it again. So refresh. This time I want to check the console. So let's click, oops, it's showing a logged in thingy. So let's go back to functions and let's just make sure we log out of the system. Okay, so there we log out, and let me remove that now. Okay, that way I get to click here and click sign up. Let's do Mary. Let's do mary@email.com, and let's do password and another password here. So let's create the account, create. Okay, so we see the error there. That's how you see the errors from the other side. So warning, trying to access array offset of type Boolean on line 35. So where is 35 in the sign up process? Oops, that's Ajax 35 right here. Ah, right. Okay, so this is a simple problem. It should happen only here if the row was returned. So I'm just going to say if row, like that. That way we don't have this kind of error. Okay, that should do. All right. So this time it should work. Let me delete that new record once again. Delete. Okay. And then now I'll click sign up. Okay, what has happened this time? Unexpected variable info on lines 46. Where is that? 46. Ah, I forgot my semicolon there. Sorry. Wow, very simple things that can take you the whole day to do. Okay, so let's try this again. Clear everything and try one time. Your profile was created successfully. Very nice. If I say okay, now it refreshes and says, "Hi, Mary." Let's try and put an image there. Where's the header? So header ink, let me remove this part that I tried to mute. And see how that looks. Okay, so it doesn't look like there's an image there at all. So get image, what is it returning back is the question. Return path or return assets. User images. There's user.jpg. Looks about right. Let me try putting a dot slash like so. Does that help? Okay, so we can just inspect the element or view page source just to see where that image is. Where does it say hi? That's hi Mary, and then the source is empty. So that's why. So why is this source empty? Let me undo this. Get image path. If not empty, path, and file exists, path, return path. This seems pretty straightforward. Why isn't it returning this? Okay, so what I'll do is I'll mute these two. Let's see if it returns what I want. No, it does not. Yeah, still returns an empty string. So that is very strange, considering this is the only thing we are returning. Oh, I see what's going on. It is returning what it needs to. The only thing is we have to echo it. So remove this PHP and put an equal sign so that we echo it. So if I refresh, now there we go. We have that. Wait, that was preloaded in my... This image was preloaded. That's why it's showing the old image that I deleted. But if I can put a question mark and just put some random number here, I'll just say version 1 or something. That will force the browser to refresh this image. And there it is. So better. Click on that. Actually, the whole thing should be in an A tag, including the image tag. So let me move that there, like so. Let's do that. Let's do that. And move things over like so. Oops. Now it doesn't look so good together. What I can do is put a style and say display flex. This should help. Then I can say align items center. Let's see if that works. Wow, nothing. Interesting. Maybe if I put this inside a span like so that there are only 2 items. Let's try that. Wow, it doesn't work at all. Justify content center. But align items doesn't want to work. Why? Because they're inside this one item here. Okay. That makes sense now. So what to do? Potato. I could move this outside and then duplicate the A tag so that there are really 2 items like so, but separate. Yeah, that worked. Okay, so if I click on this, go to the thing, log out. You are logged out. Back here, log in. Now we can log in. Let me log in as the main. And now I can say login, and there we go. So I'm logged in as that user. Now to make posts, because now the login logout system works just fine. I can click here, I can go to logout and log out. Also, another thing is we need protection here. Let me copy this. If I click logout and I'm logged out, then I go back to my profile, it still shows here, but it should return me to the header, to the main page. So what I can do about that is to go to the profile and profile settings page right about here and say if not logged in, like that, and put an if statement, and then we can just move to another page. So we use the header, we modify the header, we say location full colon and just say index.php. So you just take the user to the index page if they're not logged in. We'll do the same thing on profile settings, like so. Right? So that way if I refresh the page, it takes me to the... Oh, by the way, let me do this. We should put die down here. Very important, just in case redirecting is prohibited, it doesn't load the page, so you just die like so. So let's refresh, and there we go. If I try to go to the, oops, to the profile page, I just get redirected back to the home page. So now I can click. So security is working. This is great. I can now log in and put my password and logged in. There we go. Refreshed, back. Now I can go to my profile without a problem. Edit profile without a problem. Console, home page. Very cool. So now what we need is to be able to make posts. So let's try and post something since we are active now. So first thing we would do is we're going to create a posts object in JavaScript so that once we type something here and hit post, we actually submit. So I'm going to go to my index page and let's look at the posting area, which is right here. So instead of a div, let's change that to a form as usual. And then let's change our method to post. And don't forget to change the closing form tag like that. So if I now refresh and click here, it refreshes the page because it's posting. But I don't want this to happen, so I'll say on submit, I want it to do the post dot submit instead. Then let's pass in the event as usual. So down here we create a script. And let's create an object called post equal to an empty object. And let's create the submit thingy. Now we can simply just copy the submit function from here and modify it. So I'll copy this, copy back here, and let's paste over here. Boom. Okay, done. So post.submit. There's an event, everything good. New form. We grab everything in there that we could find as input. Data type is post. We can call it add post because there could be edit and stuff. So add underscore post, that's what we call the data type. Here we don't need the console.log. We may need it here. Let's go back to the sign up here and remove that. Anyway, sometimes you may need to use this to check what the error is. So I'll just mute it like this. Then you can activate it when you want to see any server-side errors there. For now, since we're working on this, I'll leave that. Okay. Now, also, we don't want to reload the page at this point. We just want to add the new post to the list once we have it, so without refreshing the page, because sometimes that's what you may want to do. So with that in mind, let's go to our Ajax Inc. And then right on the sign up, let's just duplicate this guy up to here. Control Shift D. What have I done? Okay, I didn't do something well here. I want from the if statement here to the next if, Control Shift D. Yeah, that way it's seamless. So there's that sign up here, add underscore post. Okay, so if it's add post, I expect a few things here. Let's see. There's a text area name. It's named comments. Why is it named comments? Anyway, this one is named post. That's the name. Okay, so that text area, it's the only thing actually. We are not uploading anything else. So back to the Ajax. That is post, like that. So we need a date. We also need the current user. Okay, so we'll have the user ID like so, and that will come from server, from session, sorry, from the current session data, and that is in the user. And then we are looking for the ID of that role. So this is the current, the one who's logged in is ID. That's how you get it. You can just change here to get their email, etc., etc. We don't need anything else. We need the date as well for the post. And that's really about it. So the post itself, who posted it, and the date when it was posted. And then with that in mind, now we don't need to check anything. We can always just remove that. And the next part that comes in is this. Wait, why is there a semicolon that does nothing really? I had left it when copying, I guess. Oops, what have I done? Okay, so this remove, let's remove that. Also, we don't need these if statements anymore. Let me remove that. And these guys. And once success is done, we need to read back the post that we just posted. Okay, so query is going to insert into posts. We haven't created the posts table yet, but that's fine. So what I want to do is read from the post again where the user ID, let's change this to user ID like that. So whatever post that the current user posted, and then we tell it to order by ID descending, so that it starts from the end and just gets one post, so the last post that the user posted. And then if that happens, we'll say success is true, and then the message will be your post was created successfully, right? Now instead of authenticating, we want to add another item called data, or we can just call it rows like that, and then the row that we got, so we just call it row, so that we grab that post and send it back through Ajax as a result. Now in inserting into inserting into posts, we just need to add the post itself, so I'll change that to post. Also here we need to change to user ID, and about here we don't need the password, so let me remove that, and the date. Okay, so just those three things for the post. That should do just fine. So this is all good, should work. Let's go back to the index page and see what we'll do with the result, how we handle the result. Now in the result area here on the index page, where we see our posts is right about, this is one post here, right? Yep, this is one post, but we need a container that contains all posts. So I'll duplicate this div and call it section, I guess. That will do, so that it's easy to see, just so we can have a place to put new posts. So call it section, and then I'll give it a class name and say JS posts. Just the thing that holds the posts. So I'll refresh. Let's do that. Okay, there we go. Very cool. Then let's go down again here. I need to check to make sure that there is something to post, right? And also here I'm looking for, there are very few things that are inside here. It's just a text area with a specific name, and there's a class here, so I'll just call it JS post. Wait, what else have I called JS post? I'll call it post input just in case. So that's the data we're grabbing. So let's come down here and just be more specific. I'm just going to say post or I'll call it text is equal to, then I'll just use document dot query selector, and let's grab that post input, and then we say dot value, dot trim, so that we trim the trailing and the other zeros, the emptiness on the sides. So here, this one I'll call it post, and add text there as the value. Then I don't need this anymore. So we're just appending to the form the post and the data type. That's all. Okay, great. Now once we get our success here, I just want to grab the posts. So say document.query selector JS posts. That's the thing that contains all posts. So I'm going to say let post holder is equal to, and then once I have that, I'm just going to say post holder dot inner HTML is equal to obj dot, actually let's just grab the response text for now. Okay, that's great. So if we post something, we should see it here. So I'm just going to say here is my first post, right? Oh, now since the page is not being refreshed, we will need to empty the post variable there. And also, I'm going to grab this, and we need to be able to check first if there's anything to post at all. So say if text is equal to emptiness, then let's alert the user and say, please type something to post. And then let's return and move away from this thing here. And then if everything went well, let me grab that. We empty the post thing. So the input dot value should be equal to empty string. That way it's nice and clean, ready for. Actually, it doesn't have a value. It has. Wait, it does have a value, right? Okay, we'll try it anyway. So I'll copy that. Let's refresh. Paste. Let's see what happens. Boom. Okay, it just refreshed the page. That isn't cool. So this should say e.prevent default. So clearly it didn't work. So on the submit, it says post.submit event. Okay. The question is, does it get to this point? Is what I want to know. So I'm going to put an empty alert here and see if we get to that empty alert. So it doesn't work. So something is clearly wrong. Post.submit. Post.submit event. Okay, this is weird. Why isn't this working? Okay, let me try an alert here first of all and put a semicolon, just to be sure things are working around there. Okay, so there is an empty alert. That worked. So it means this function post.submit is the one that isn't working. Now, sometimes what could be the cause is maybe the function wasn't declared properly, or this thing that we are using is already declared somewhere. So I'm just going to change it to my post like that to make sure it's not part of the system existing variables. Let's try that. Okay, at least it works. So that's what the problem was. So we just change it to my post.submit. So just by changing that variable name, maybe it was already existing or something. That's why we are doing that. Okay. So if I click, it says please type something to post, and I should put the cursor in there while I do that. So I'm going to do this again and say dot focus, so that it's focused. Right, so if I click again, please type something to post, it didn't focus. What happened? Nothing. Empty value dot focus. Maybe because I didn't refresh it, I don't know. Doesn't seem to want to focus on this. Anyway, this is my post. Let's click. Okay, so we have issues. Let's check them out. I'll click on there to view the console, and the console shows an error, and it says, and the reason it shows an error is because we have this console.log of the result from the other side. So it says, unquote, my table, my forum DB post does not exist. Okay, so that's the problem. We didn't create a table. So let's go and create a database table. Right here in forum DB, I can click on new to create a new table. Right here, I can just say posts. And let's see what posts requires. Just 4 columns. So that's perfect. Let's click go. So first of all, the ID, I think we needed 5 actually. The user ID of the one who created the post, and then the post itself and the date when it was created. So here we'll put date time because I want the time as well. Here we'll put text because we don't know how much text the user is going to use. The user ID remains an integer. Let's put auto increment on the ID. Make sure it's primary key. Here on the user, let's put, you can put a default value of 0 since it's an integer, but not necessary. And what else? The post maybe cannot be empty actually. So if any of these could be empty, you can put no, but none of these will work like that. So let's save. Okay, let's put an ID for user ID because we will be searching for which user created this post. All right, so let's refresh and let's try that again. So this is my first post, and let's save that post. Your post was created successfully, very nice. And then I can see it here, and that thing becomes empty like that. Very cool. So your post was successfully created. This is the array we get, and then we get the actual row which has a post inside it. This is extremely cool. So if I now refresh this page, I don't see that new post here, but we're going to read the posts from the database and then put them here. And then when we post a new one, we will see it here as well. All right, so far so good. So what I want to do here is to recreate this thing and then loop through it. But I don't want to do this in PHP. I want to do it in using Ajax. So we load the page and then it loads the posts after. So what we're going to do here is, let me just close all these files. Let's go to the index.php. Right here where there is the section that holds the posts, what text I want in here is just loading like that, so that when we open the page, it just says loading posts or something. Loading posts. Yeah. Let me just put a div in there like so. That way I can style this. Padding 10 pixels, text align. Let's put that in the center. Okay, that will show some posts, loading posts, but then once the posts have loaded, this will be replaced. So now let's create a function that will load posts. Now the loading of posts is kind of like this submit, but I wanted to organize it a little bit better so I don't repeat myself with this code, but why not? Let's just repeat ourselves, it's easier. So I'll duplicate the submit function right there. And this time instead I'll just say load posts. Remove that. Yeah, if it becomes too repetitive, I'm going to restructure this code, but it's okay now. We're repeating the Ajax code, that's fine. Okay, so load posts. We just want to load all the posts that we can find. So there's no need for e.preventDefault. There's also no need to grab any. We can just grab the post holder maybe, but it's not necessary to grab it here. Let's remove that. The form is required because we want to send something. Data type is load posts. That's all we are sending, load posts, just to tell it what we need to do. And then we send everything. Please check your internet connection. Maybe this could be annoying because we're just loading posts, so I'll remove it. What else? If things went well, there was success. We don't need an alert once we load any of this. All we need is the posts holder, which is right here. And then what we want to do is post holder.inner.html is equal to okay, so let me remove these as well. Now what we want to do is create a post. So what I'm going to do is grab this post that already exists. This is a div that has our post, so I'm going to grab this and move it out of here. So cut. So now all we have is that loading thingy in there. So right at the end here, I will just put something like post card. It's like a template that we are creating here. And then I'll put end postcard template. And then I will paste here. Let's just do Shift Tab so it comes back to the top. Okay, so it has this class name, but let's add one more. I'll say JS post card, and then let's hide it like so. Okay. So if we come back, what we've done is just removed all the posts, and it just says loading posts like that. Okay. So now we want to read the posts, and then once we read them, we bring back the data. Once the data is back, we want to grab this item and replace all the known features, and then post it, clone it, and add it to the list. So let's remove these break tags that do not mean anything. And then what I want to do is put class names so I can replace things like this. So first of all, say JS username. All right. Let me come down here and say JS date. And this one is the actual post. So say JS post. And this remains as it is. Yeah. On click here, when we click, we'll say post dot, let's call it view comments, like that, as a function. Okay. So the only data we're replacing is the name, the date, and the post. So we have enough to go with, and this is a JS postcard. All right, great. Okay, so what I would do here is now, once we load posts, here we come to this point. So I know I've grabbed the post holder here, so I want to loop through the data that I got. So I'm just going to say for, like that, and grab all the data that has returned. And then that data is going to be inside obj.rows. That's what it's going to be called, rows. So rows.length, and then this current row right now will have, for example, dot post, and it also have post.date and so on. So while I'm looping through this, I want to be cloning that thing there. So what I'll do is I'll just say let clone is equal to document. No, let's call it template. Let template is equal to document.query selector. And I want to get from the query selector JS postcard, just that card there. And then now inside this template, I want to change some things. So I'll say template dot query selector again. So I grab an item and say the inner HTML is equal to that post. So inside the template, this is the template we've grabbed right here. I want to grab this item and then change its content. So it's called JS post. I'll change also JS date and JS username. So for now, let me just change one. This one is JS post, right? And then Shift D 2 times. This one is date, and this one is username. And then here the username, will just use the user ID for now, and then here we'll do the date like that. And then once I'm done with changing those, then I'll make a clone of the template because I don't want to delete the whole lot. So I'll say clone is equal to template.clone node. So we clone it and put true here to clone everything inside it as well. So once we have this clone, now we can add it to the post holder. So here I'll say post holder dot append child, and let's put that clone in there. All right, great. That's that should do it. Now I want this to happen immediately I load the page. So I'll say my post dot load posts down here. So just say my post dot load posts so that it runs immediately we load the page. Okay. But now we need to configure these load posts on the Ajax side. So Ajax, there's add post here, which reads from the post. So I'm just going to duplicate this one up to there, like so, up to that else, Control Shift D, and this one is load posts. Okay, in order to load posts, I just want to load all posts, so it doesn't matter who these posts belong to. So it's just this part here. Selector from posts, where, we don't care where, we just want to order by ID descending, and then limit 10 posts. That's it. And then this one will be rows. And let's remove this so that we grab all the results. And then we save this as rows and rows here. No need for a message at all. Okay, that is cool. So let's try this. I'm going to refresh the page. Still loading. Let's see what went wrong. This is my first post. Load posts, success. Okay, so it does return a result, but it's like the results are not being added to where they need to be added. So success, post holder. So something is wrong here. Rows to the length. Let me just try to put a console.log to see how many times we are here. Just console.log the word here, just so we know we are getting to that point. So it is getting there once, which is there is only one post. So that actually works. So it's getting to this point. So what the... Okay. So I need to figure out what is wrong here. Post holder.append child clone. Okay, I just want to see what the clone is. So console.log, let's make sure our clone really exists. All right, so back here, let's refresh. Okay, so the clone does exist, which is good, and it does seem to have the right information. Does it? The title, blah blah blah. Yep, it has some content in there. Outer HTML, blah blah blah. Looks great, actually. Okay, so that exists. So what is the problem then? I guess the problem should be here. Let me copy and see this. I want to see that item. Okay, that also works. So what is the problem? Okay, append child maybe. Let me do this. Let's say inner HTML, first of all, is equal to empty, so that we empty whatever is in there. Okay, so that's done. But then it doesn't want to append. What is the problem here? Append child clone. So I think this line is the problem. Okay. The problem is it's not showing any errors, and that is worrisome. Okay, let me try insert before. That doesn't work either. Let's try like this. Node insert argument 1 is not an object. Okay, so it should be an object. Okay, I'm stuck here. Let's go to... I've been using this for a while, so let's Google it. JS append child. Let's see how that works. So node.append child. How does that work? Okay, we can go to W3 schools as well. Okay, so this is a process that happens even to professionals. You end up forgetting one or two things and you have to Google it. But my internet is very slow. Anyway, this is how it works. So the node, you grab a node, you say node.append child text node, append child node. This is exactly what I did. Node.append child text node. Okay, looks like I did everything right, but for some reason it isn't working. So let's refresh. What's going on here? We have an error. Oh, I haven't saved, that's why. Okay, it doesn't look like there's an error. So let's inspect what's going on anyway. Inspect the element. Let's go to the section and see what it has. Oh, it does have something in there. Okay, so everything did work well. Oh, the reason why it's not showing is because the node has a hide class. Sorry about that, I forgot. So what I need to do is say clone. So I'm going to say clone.classlist.remove. Let's remove the hide class from there. Sorry about that, I forgot. And there we go, look at that. And the fade-in as well works. So you see, refresh, it loads the post. So let's add another post. So say this is my second post. And let's paste that. Your post was successfully created. Oh, that part is flawed. So what we're going to do is I want to do this part again. So I'm going to grab this so that we add that post to, let me grab that. Actually, what we can do is just read the posts again. That's all. Just say load posts and it will load the posts. So from here, if success, post holder, we don't need to do any of this. We can just say post my post dot load posts. That's it. So once we add a post, we just reload the posts again. This is my third post. So let's do that. That didn't seem to work at all. So let's go to the console. Seems to be saving the posts, right? If I browse in the database, I see 3 posts here. So why can't we read 3 posts here? Let's go back to the Ajax Inc. So load posts, select all from posts, order by ID descending, limit 10, and rows is equal to that, and there we go. So this looks fine. Maybe in the functions page, that's where we have the problem. Row. No, actually that isn't where we have the problem. Because if we go to inspect our element in the console and I refresh the page, I do see a couple of posts here, 3 posts to be precise. So the problem is not from the function, it's in the JavaScript. So back here, load posts has a problem. Let's see what we've got. So rows dot length. So oh, the problem is every time we're emptying the post holder. So I'll remove this and put it before the loop here, outside the loop, so that we refresh it once, and there we go. Okay, so that solved the problem. This is my first post. I want this to order by ID descending, which it is doing. But then once we start loading them, we are loading them by appending, right, to the end. So instead, we should insert them to the top of the page. So instead of append child, I would like to use another one called insert before. and then put a no at the end there. So you can research what insert before does. It just inserts before another item. So you can tell it that I want you to insert this item before another item here. But if you say you put an empty here, I guess it will insert at the bottom or the top. I don't know. Doesn't change a thing. First post, second post, third post. So that's even worse. So what should we do? Let me refresh. First post, second. Why is this repeated? Let's go back here. This is my first post. This is my third post. Append child. Remove hide. This is very strange. My first post again. Why? Okay, that's weird. Let me use a for loop that loops from the opposite direction. So this one goes in the other way. This one does plus plus, this one does minus minus. So it's a kind of a different. It starts from the last item to the first one. That way the posts will order themselves that way. Okay, that didn't seem to work. Why? Did I remove something important? This was like this. And so what is the problem? Let's go to inspect the element. Syntax error, missing bracket. Okay. Where is the missing bracket? Okay, let me undo. So I removed this. Here it seems fine. There it seems fine as well. So I removed that. That's fine. And removed that. So what is the problem? Where did this come from? Ah, right. Why is that thing here? So, anyway. Okay, that worked. Third post, second. Why is the last one repeated? Oh no, this is driving me insane. I really don't know what the problem is here, but we'll figure it out. The more pressing issue is about converting these dates to human readable and putting in the actual name of the user. So let's do that real quick and we can call it a day. So let's go back to Ajax Inc. So once we have the rows over here, right, we can loop through them and manipulate them in PHP. I'd rather do that from here because I'm better at PHP than JavaScript. Actually, PHP is just better at doing certain things than JavaScript. So we are looping through the rows and I want to manipulate the dates, for example. So I'm just going to say if this one is a single row. So here I'm just going to say rows key, the current one. Then in there I want the What do I want? I want the date to be changed. It's going to be equal to the current date in this row. But let's use the date function. So I'm just going to say date. Then let's change the format to small letter J, capital S, and then F. No, actually, let's just use capital M and comma, year. And then let's put the hour, the minute, and the seconds, and whether it's AM or PM. And we are doing that to this item here. But we must convert it, string to time, to an integer that this date function can recognize. Okay, so let's just see if the date alone will change to a human readable date. And as you can see, it has 6th February 2023, and there's a time there, PM. So that's better. The same way we want to read the user actual content of the user row. So at the same time, once we do this, I want to create another item called user, like this. And that user is going to be equal to the user row that we will create, but first item in that. So I just want to read from the query like so. I'll say select all from users where ID, is equal to ID. And then let's just say limit 1. Okay, so what we are doing here is getting the ID of the user ID from one of these rows and then using it to read from the query. And we're going to call this one user row so that we get the actual user information. Let's go to query like that. And then we still need to check if user row is even a thing. That's when we add it to the current row. So the ID here we have to create. So I'm going to copy that and do that. ID is equal to the current row that we are rowing through. Let's check an item called user ID. So we'll come back here like so. Okay. So we grab that ID, get what we need, and move on. So if I come back here, I could check, for example, if that item exists. So right now we have something like this instead of user ID, right? I could claim that. What do I do here? I'll say user, because it's going to be user now, dot user, and then dot username, like that. So user is coming from the fact that we are putting this inside a user. Whatever you put here, that's what you're going to put there, and then you grab the username part of it. So let's see, and look at that. Works like a charm. But I guess the name is too long. So let's come back and edit that a little bit. Let's change the font size right here. So I'm going to add a style and say font size 16 pixels. Let's see that. Yeah, much better. Okay, very good. But it's possible that it may not exist. So let's try and check what happens when that does not exist. Do we get an error? What happens? Yeah, we do get an error. So we must plan for that because sometimes it's possible for that row not to exist. So maybe what we can do is say or unknown. I don't know if that can work actually. Nah, doesn't work. Yep. Okay, so we can just check a type of this. So I'll just copy that and do a quick if type of this is equal to object, so type of user, like up to there, if it's equal to object, then echo that instead. Otherwise, let's put a full colon and put unknown instead. So this is just an if statement. You can put this inside a bracket like so, just so it's easier to read. So we are saying if type of this is equal to object, which means it's an invalid object, then let's grab the username from that object. Otherwise, let's set this in HTML to unknown. Okay, so let's refresh, and now it should say unknown like that. Okay, or you can just say user. That's entirely up to you. Let's say user. But now let's activate this so we actually find it and it shows the actual name. Very good. Now that it's there, we can also grab the image as well. There. Now we can do the same thing here in the Ajax. If the row was sensed here, so there's a user row over here, but this row requires to know, we require to know whether the, let me do this, let me manipulate the image. So say the image is equal to get image. That way I don't have to worry about whether the image exists or not. I'll say get image, whatever is in here. So let me grab that. And put it there. Actually, I can use user row 0 image like that. That worked too. So what get image does, obviously it checks to see if the image exists. If it does, then it will give us the path to the existing image. Otherwise, it will give us the path to a placeholder. That way we don't have to worry about a placeholder. So back here, I will do exactly the same thing and duplicate that. And this one, I'll just say JS image, right? And type of user, and then put username here. Let's put image there. If there's, if it doesn't exist, what do we do? What do we do here? If it does not exist. This is interesting, huh? You know what? We should only change this if this is if statement works. So what I would do is I'll just grab this like so and put that as an if statement here. Yeah. We'll say if type of is equal to object, then only then should we change whatever image is originally there. Okay, so let me go back up here and I'll change this image to user.jpg so that it's naturally the placeholder, and let's do that. Okay, something is wrong, of course, because it couldn't find the class I'm looking for. So let's say class is equal to JS image. That way it's found. And also one other thing I forgot to change. It's not the inner HTML of the image, it's the source that we need to manipulate. Okay, so refresh, and there we go. But why is the image so huge? That isn't great, is it? JS image. There's a class. Oh, there's another class here. That's the problem I made. So let me just group them together like so and remove this one. Right. Okay, there we go. Very interesting indeed. Okay, so we have our posts coming in. I don't know why this one is being repeated, but let's add a fourth post. Let's see. This is my fourth post. Yeah, and there we go. This is my fourth post. Third post, and then fourth post again is shown here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a bug that I need to fix, but do not be feared, we will fix these bugs. All right, so far so good. At least posts are being added, and we need to be able to click here on the comments part to take us to the single post.php page. So that is easy to do. Let me just do that here. There's post.view comments, so we just need to create this function. And then here, we need to know the ID of the post that we are trying to deal with, right? So what I would do is put a class here, say JS comment link, like that. Then I'll remove this. I just copy that. I'll add it as an attribute. So JS comment link right there. Okay. Actually, maybe what do I do? Maybe I put it here. Maybe I put it here. Yep. Let me move this class to here. That way, when we click on this thing, there's an on-click listener. Okay, so I'm going to go. Wait, is that the right place? Maybe not. Maybe on comments there. Anyway, you can put it wherever you want. So comment link. Let's go down here and let's let me duplicate this. Comment link, like that. Now we're not changing the inner HTML here. No, we are grabbing we are setting an attribute to this. We'll say set attribute. Okay, like so. So I'll explain a little bit. I just want the ID of this, like so, and then put it here. Now the reason we are setting an attribute is this. You see here where we add, we grabbed this item, this div. Now in order to set something here like on click or type or class, these are attributes like the class name, the style, those are attributes. So you can actually create a new attribute here, and I want to create an attribute called on click. The reason I can't add it here is because I need the current post's ID. That's why I have to do it here so that I can grab the ID while I'm at it. So say comment link to set attribute, and the first thing is the attribute name. In my case, I want the attribute name to be on click, and then its value over here. So the value of the attribute will be some text. Let me actually use these the tilde key, this one here, because I can put interesting stuff in there. So this is going to be the value of the on-click listener, post.view. But then let me move this bracket over here. Then inside I want to put the ID of the post. So I'll put the $sign like so. Now this $sign means this in here is a variable, so it will evaluate it. And this only works because I'm using these tilde key. This key is right next to the below the escape key on your keyboard. It's a slanting inverted comma. Okay, so that should work. But then once we click on that, something should happen. So we need to create a function to do that. So right here, we will create a function called view comments. This is going to be equal to a function, and let's put a comma. Let's remove this post dot. So view comments will come with an ID, presumably, and all we need to do is just say window.location dot href is going to be equal to that single post page, so post.php. Then we'll put a question mark and say id is equal to, and then let's concatenate that id. Simple and straightforward. So let's refresh again, and this is what we get. Now if I click here, it should go to that part, but it isn't. So let's view what's happening. Reference post is not defined. Okay, that's actually true. Let's go down here. It's no longer post, it's my post. And then also I need this to be a cursor. So here I'll put a style and say color blue, and then say cursor pointer, like that. That way these comments, you can see that they are clickable. So if I click here, it takes me to the single post. As you can see, back, single post with an ID there, as you can see, and same thing here, an ID 3. Okay, so we are getting very close to the actual thing that we want. Let me see why this is happening so that we can fix things. Let's troubleshoot a little bit. So in the loop here, I want to see the number I, the letter I, what it is as we go through it. So console.log, what is I? So I'm going to inspect the element, go to the console, delete everything, refresh. Okay, so it starts with 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, that kind of makes sense. But in the data here, let me see, what do we have? We have 0. I guess this is created. This is okay. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's fine. Are we using the I? We are using the rows I. Okay, that makes sense. What is happening here? So the numbers are not skipping. 0, 1, 2, 3. That's fine. And what I can do now is console.post, console.log, what the post is this time, like so, so that we see. So first, second, third, fourth. So this happens just okay. So all this works fine. So I guess the problem comes in when we are cloning here. So we are editing the template. Let template is equal to document.query selector. Grab that again. Does this change if I move the template out of here so that I grab it only once? Let's see what happens. So finally it has worked just by doing that. Okay, so I guess it was getting confused. So let me remove that. So we just move the template outside, the declaration of the template outside the loop. Okay, so seems fine. First, second, third, fourth post. Wait, what? Fourth post should be at the top. So what is going on here again? Okay. Okay, I can always use that other for loop. So let me just do this. use this, the one that goes the other way. And let me just grab this guy, put here, and let's remove the other one, and let's see what happens. First post, second post, third, fourth. Okay, pretty good. So let's try again. Post number 5. Post. Yeah. Okay, so post number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. Very nice. So things are working as intended. Okay, so we are putting posts. Very nice. We need to go to the comment section here and add comments in the second. Comments won't be hard because we're going to use exactly the same system we're using here and just adapt it for comments over here.